alaikum. Identity. I am called many things, but a rose by any other name is still a rose. I am a queen, mother to 2 African princesses, daughter of first-generation African Trinidadian Muslims, father, a tailor, nurse, health worker, mom, teacher, Taj maker. He who has passed down not just his looks, but his wits, intelligence, and professional skills. To me, his 4th daughter. Born in the hills of Laventil, my navel string lays buried in the soil, covered by the blood of my Afro-Trinidadian brothers. Like so many before me, I developed myself both spiritually, mentally, and physically to get out of the hills and finally away from the city. I was a TAK champion, a fighter, a female karateka, but now I fight for the voiceless, the hopeless, and those under stress, forgotten and ignored by society whose concept of normalcy is pure hypocrisy, a legacy left by plantation owners who still represent how Black people are seen, but not this queen, for I see the holes in the social construct where we work to live and live to die until you find a better purpose in life. I am a champion for mental health, and if you ask me who I am, I will say it loud and clear. I am everything above and more, but most importantly, I am Muslim. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Islam Choose Me, right here on IBN Channel 8, the Islamic Broadcast Network. You can also find us on Facebook and tegotv.com. And you'd have seen last evening our first rerun at 6 p.m. So now you can get all our reruns of Islam Choose Me right on IBN on Saturdays from 6 p.m. inshallah. I am your host, Ep3 Sorwazi, the activist educator. And each week, we will share the powerful journeys of brothers and sisters who have embraced Islam. Their stories of discovery, struggle, and transformation remind us of the truth that Allah guides whom He wills in ways that inspire and motivate us all. As you would have seen in our intro, how they say it on social media, IYKYK, if you know, you know. Our beloved sister, who is our guest today, Sister Latifah Razzaq. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Latifah. Welcome to Islam Chose Me, because every path to Islam is a story worth sharing.
I agree.
Now, for some who know you personally, may say, well, Latifah, do you know Islam Chose Me? And, you know, before we get into the discussion of why you're here, because you're here for 2 reasons. Mm-hmm. One, to share a story.
Right.
And also, Wednesday gone was National Poetry Day. Mm-hmm. And I know you personally, I know you love your poetry and you want to share.
Yes.
So I say, hey, preserve this Sunday for Latifah to share some poems with us, but also, most importantly, to share a story of why you have decided to come to Islam Chose Me. So, Latifah.
Right, so.
Share with us.
I know people will be surprised.
Of course.
Because this isn't a story of someone who was another religion and then converted to Islam.
Yeah.
I would have been born Muslim. right? A Muslim family, a first generation Afro-Trinidadian family. So
Yes.
both my parents were convertees during the 70s.
Yes.
You know, right off the back of the Black Power movement,
Yes.
where people wanted to discover who am I,
Yeah.
and they wanted to break free from any colonial stuff, and they wanted to change their names and to choose Muslim names. So my parents would have done all of that.
Yes.
So they would have had previous names, and now they have different names.
Yes.
So they would have changed their names by deed poll.
Yes. Yes.
So who they were before, they let go of all of that.
So not government name and,
Yes.
and religion
So
and
no government
lifestyle.
names, no more.
Yeah.
So my Razzaq is not a generational Razzaq.
Yeah.
My father would have been the first Razzaq.
Yeah.
Yes,
of
from
African,
that generation,
Yeah, African
because he would have chosen that name for himself.
Yes.
Right? So it was very tough knowing that my name means, you know, I'm supposed to be servant of the provider, right?
Yes, yeah, Razzaq.
So,
Yeah.
Razzaq. So, for my whole life, it just seems like I fit into that role so well. So I provide for myself, and I provide for my girls. I have 2 children,
Yeah.
but I do that job so well that even in relationships or marriages, I become that provider. So the men just totally, like, they'll stand up and just like, yeah, no, she can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it reaches a point sometimes that you don't want people clapping you on the sideline if it is you're struggling and you need help.
Yeah.
You will expect them to kind of jump in, you know, let's be there.
Yeah.
So I would have felt alone a lot, even in relationships, right? So I work very hard. So I am a registered psychiatric nurse by profession. So people will say nursey, the Muslim nurse, and I love my job. However, I didn't choose the conventional type of nursing. So I'm not a general nurse. I'm a psychiatric nurse, which means I work at St. Anne's Hospital, what people used to call the madhouse.
The madhouse, yeah.
But we don't see that anymore because we want people to feel like, hey, we can come here if we need help.
Dignity, yeah.
Right? So we're trying to move away from these negative stereotypes from long ago. Because if somebody called you mad or crazy, that was a bad thing. Nobody
Yeah.
wanted to associate with you. Nobody wanted to be your friend, your neighbor, your sister. People just would have gotten ostracized and pushed
Yeah.
aside. And in some cases, some people even hidden away at
Of
the
course,
St. Anne's Hospital
Of course, yeah.
in days gone by.
Yes.
So this isn't like that anymore. But
Yeah.
probably 50, 60 years ago,
Yeah,
you would have
yeah.
found people living at the hospital.
I heard so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up a point. Living there.
Yes.
Yes, I heard so. Yeah.
So they didn't come for treatment and
No,
leave.
they live in there. Yeah.
They would have spent their whole lives there, right? There's small little remnants of that still there, but we're not going to get into that politics.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the way how it is now, if you want to access help, it's just to come in, you speak to a doctor.
Yeah.
If you do need admission, they admit you. If not, they refer you to an outpatient clinic or another
I
service.
have a lot of outpatient clinics
We
too,
do
all
have a
over the
lot
country.
right
Yeah.
now. We also
Which is
have,
good, yeah.
well, they call them wellness centers.
Well, I saw the name. Yeah.
You could also be referred to psychology or even a social work department. So maybe the assistance you need might be more social.
Yeah,
So social welfare might need help getting financial assistance, maybe housing. So,
Yeah, counseling, yeah.
So we work in conjunction with a lot of other entities within that umbrella of health, right? So my job is very exciting, but also very stressful.
Yeah.
So when I go home, I want to come to a nice, peaceful place. So no crawling in my head. You know, I want, a lot of attention and love and a nice, positive, quiet environment, right? Because when I go out to work, I don't bring home the stuff from work. So when I leave the gates of St. Anne's, I leave everything behind and I'm going towards peace. Right? So that's how I live my life. And so the journey I have had, so how I reached mental health. So I knew a few people who were affected by, they would have had mental disorders. Back then, it wasn't fully known. Everybody was a mad person. They didn't say if they were schizophrenic, if they had bipolar, if they were suffering from depression.
Yeah.
they just kind of like loop everybody together and dealt with them the exact same way, when it is everybody's not the same. And people would have needed different types of support and help and things like that. So some people would have needed admission, some would have needed just counseling. So, but you can't lump everybody, right? So I knew a few people, and then I had a friend of mine, his brother would have committed suicide. And I was so surprised. I was like, but why would he do that? Because a lot of us would have gone through bad things in life. We would have lost people, lost things. And I couldn't understand. I definitely want to know why that was his solution. Why couldn't he have talked to someone, asked for help? It didn't happen. And that was the choice that he made. So going through that process, attending the funeral services, because he wasn't Muslim. So I went to the funeral, I looked at the family and everybody was crying and sad, and I'm like, you know something? I want to be that person who people can talk to, right? I had a few jobs I wanted to do. I did want to do social work at one time, but for some reason, nursing kept calling to me, right? I'm going this direction and nursing telling me, come this way, and I run in this way. And no matter what I do, the whole world pushing me, this is where it needs to be. So from career fairs and secondary school, nursing, I did the whole thing, and I'm like, so not a doctor? Nursing. And when I asked, they said, but you have the personality for nursing, it's caring and nurturing. So like, doctors could be caring and nurturing, and they're like, yeah, but it's a little different. Sometimes people need a little more caring and nurturing, and nurses normally have that naturally. So I will, with the exception of the huggish nurse. For me, that's a myth. I don't know much people who are like that, but everybody have the story of the huggish nurse.
There's one nurse.
There's one nurse who, they don't like to come to work, or they don't want to be in work, and I feel really sorry when people go through bad experiences in the hospital. And, I would want that if somebody is coming to me, that's not the image I'm giving off. So first I'm representing not just the profession, I'm representing the institution that I work at. So I would like for people to say, I went to this hospital and I met a really nice nurse, I got nice treatment. That reflects very well, right? So I don't know why somebody will come and want to paint negative picture of the environment by their behavior. Right? And remember, people are suffering. They're not feeling well. Why would you make that person more uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Right? So we're going back to the caring and nurturing. So I'm a natural carer, natural nurturer, and I feel so much. Right? If you come and tell me a sad story, well, you and I would be crying. Because I tend to feel along with people. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Bad in the sense that sometimes everybody around me, I can tell when people are sad, when they need help, when they're not saying the things that they need to say, when they're pretending to smile. And I tell myself, Latifah, leave it alone. But my innate personality will be, hey, you okay? And I was like, oh my gosh, Latifah, I told you to leave it alone. Right? Sometimes I can't. And sometimes I could help, sometimes I can't. When I can't help, I will refer to someone who can. So if it is, the problem is bigger than me, than what I can do, because as a psychiatric nurse, sorry, I stutter a little bit. I was born with a stutter. So that was one of the things, when I said I was going to do nursing, I was told by a close relative, how are you going to be a nurse and you can't even talk? And I was like, wait, did they just say that? Like, seriously? Right? So I do stutter, and I did go through a lot to overcome it. So I went from being very silent as a child to a little more spoken as a teenager. So I played sports and different things, and I had to shout to the other team members. And
I know you used to do karate too.
Yes. So I did martial arts.
Martial arts,
Started at 14, but I couldn't stay because of financial stuff. I'm from a very big family, so couldn't really afford to stay in because most of those programs, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I started off, and then as an adult, I would have started back around, I was about 27. So see me with my big hardback self, going to do karate, and I'm around all these little kids,
Yeah.
learning to punch, and you're doing front stands, back stands, and knife and block, and I'm not learning these things as an adult, right? But that came off of another survival story, right? So I've been through a lot. Sometimes carers and people who are empathic attract people who are not, right? But that's just a natural law of attraction. So people like us sometimes have to care for yourself a little more and create lots of boundaries. So I tell people, you can call me anytime, but not after 10, by then I'll be asleep. Unless it's an emergency, like you have to go to hospital, you can call me then. So I have to set those boundaries, or else people be calling me all night, all day. And on Friday during Juma.
Yeah.
So,
I just
yes.
tell people I would lock off from, I think I'll say from 12, I tell them 12 to like 1:30.
Right.
Because I'm preparing to go.
Yes.
And then after you want me to sit back to talk to somebody.
Right. So
don't
anytime
the phone ringing
after
off.
3 p.m. on a Friday, I'm available.
Well, interestingly, I just said I'll be available from 3 p.m. until,
Yes. No, because you have to set those boundaries, because if you are a natural helper, you will want to help regardless. So if you don't set boundaries for yourself, you and all will be in trouble. Because you can't stay up all night talking to people. But as I tell people, if there's an emergency, somebody's having a psychotic break, you're feeling to kill yourself, call me. That is considered an emergency.
Yeah.
Right? I will not answer. But if you're going to call me to tell me, well, my daughter didn't want to do her homework, like, you could have called me anytime and tell me that, not 11 o'clock in the night. So it have things that some people don't understand, that yes, you can help, but we all have to set our boundaries for our own personal well-being, right? So I think we was talking about the sports thing, right? So karate. So well, those who know me personally know I would have been married once or maybe twice or a few times. Not saying how much that's personal, but in one of my stories, I would have had to make a grand escape, right? So in that particular marriage, I would have had a baby, would not have been able to have friends, didn't want me to go to work, talk to anybody, not talk to my own family members, which I found was very strange. At first I was like, okay, I will go along. I don't want to upset my husband. And then it turned out that I was not allowed most basic freedoms at all. And I didn't even have freedom to talk. Me, who would have tried my whole life to speak to people, but I couldn't speak, I used to stutter. So imagine somebody telling you you're not allowed to speak. So certain things I had to build up from there. And then when I realized there was an escalation. So there's a cycle of domestic violence. So it starts with sometimes saying
some subtle things.
Subtle things. So they're making little jokes, then they start to call you names, and then there was the escalation. So it was just before the point where it got physical, but I felt it. It was coming. At that time, they decided to change to actually add burglar proofing to the house. I had keys to the house, not keys to the burglar proofing. So when they didn't want me to leave the house or to go to work, I would get locked in. So my thing was, so if there's a fire or something happens, there's no way of getting out of this house. And that was my key to say, no, it's time to leave. I gotta leave because my well-being would have been in jeopardy in case something was to happen. So I've never really talked about this much because people really don't know. And I try to keep certain things kind of private, but there are reasons why I would have left a situation. I don't think any sane person will leave a good situation because it's a good situation. Why would I leave, right? So that's my disclaimer. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I had to put a disclaimer. So I decided, things are getting a little scary. I don't feel safe anymore. I'm being locked in the house. And I have a job. I need to go to work, and I got an opportunity So a gate was left open. I picked up the baby and see me trying to make a run for it, and boom, the brother's mother came blocking me and telling me I can't leave with the baby, but I can leave. And I'm like, oh no, 9 months, the labor was tough. Went through all of this, no, I'm leaving with my baby. So I kind of orchestrated a way, and I got out. And I made a dash, right? So where we was living was a residential area close to a village. So I went up into the village. I had like 2 friends. So the friend he thought I went by was the friend that he approved of. I went to talking to this person only. Yeah. I went by the other person. And I was like, you know, so-and-so is happening. I don't feel safe. I need to get to my mom's house. And so I got to my mom. She's like, well, you know, he probably just a little possessive. Sometimes people, when they love you, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel like love though. You know, and that was day one. And then it started to progress to threats and different things. And I was feeling unsafe before. Imagine how I felt after. So I was getting threats from not just him, but he would get people from different masjids to call and threaten me. And I'm like, here what? I don't attend your community. This is the right thing I'm doing for myself and my safety. I'm not going back. I feel like if, you know, if I go back, I might be harmed more. I don't think so. And so I actually stood my ground. So the lash came because I didn't want to come back, and I was like, but it was going to that way. And hence I was like, I don't like feeling scared. You know, it's not a nice feeling. Like you have to look behind your back every minute. And that was the moment I said, well, you know something? If I have to go down, I'm going down fighting. So I joined karate. I didn't expect the progression from white belt to happen so fast, because I think within about 3-4 months, I had moved about 4 belts. I think I even skipped. I skipped the yellow belt. I was an orange belt, and I skipped green belt. And I didn't realize that my determination to protect myself was so strong. And I feel in that kind of strength would have made it a little difficult to be in certain relationships where people may expect you to be more quiet and not speaking much. And I speak a lot. So surprisingly, I thought I was quiet. I grew up thinking I was a quiet person. I wasn't quiet. I just had a speech impediment. So when I started talking, I had everybody looking at me like, because they want to know, where did all this come from? But it was always within me. So I'm a natural fighter, right? I also know time and place. So even if something happens in work, okay, no problem. Okay, supervisor, all right, head nurse. And I smile and walk off, me fighting on work. I love my job. Yeah. So there's time and place, right? But karate has been a driving force, right? So it didn't just help my confidence, but it helped me feel that I am a person, I am valid, my feelings are valid, and safety is one of the things on Maslow hierarchy of needs. So if you don't feel safe, nothing else could function. Because I remember watching around and feeling so scared all the time. And after that...
So, now, you mentioned, because I know people still kind of baffle us to, you know, where are you going with this now?
Yes.
Right? And again, those who know, those who don't know,
yes,
really peel into this conversation. I want to, earlier this month, they had some program, I think it was at Napa, I can't exactly remember where, but it was in honor of Marcia Henville.
Yes.
Remember her?
I remember Marcia.
Now, the lady who was speaking on television was saying that she rescued a lot of women from different abusive relationships. And she said Marcia had called her and said, I have this friend, going through XYZ. And the woman said, you mean you?
Right.
And Master said, no. It's a friend, this friend I have.
Right.
And the woman, on the interview on television, proceeded to say that she told Master, well, all right, tell your friend, do this, do that. Tell your friend, put this in place. Tell your friend. And that woman said on national television, a week after Master was killed by her husband, because we all know the story.
The scariest point is that point you see just before you leave and right after you leave. So when you think things are escalated, it gets plenty worse after you leave. So unless you have support, cop will smoke your pipe, as the old people say.
Right. And that word they use now, we're going to segue into what you're going to say here now. I can't remember when it was, Latifah, over 2 years ago. Sometime you had called me. Because you know of the work I do and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you say, but Tima, I want you to help me with something. I said, Louisa, I want to form a support group for women, for Muslim sisters.
Muslim women, yes.
Yeah, for Muslim women. That's what I said. I want to form a support group for Muslim women, and I want you to help me, to organize it. And I said, well, yeah, well, I don't mind. I said, I could help you set it up, and I could come and give some talks, and but I don't mind supporting things like that, because I do a lot of work nationally, nationwide. Sometimes I feel that I am underutilized in the Muslim community.
Right.
But I don't have a problem, because I just say, all are using me where I need to be used. So when you had reached out to me, I said, well, yeah, we could organize something.
But you said 2 years ago, but you believe that was actually 4 years ago in 2021.
That was so long?
Yes.
Listen.
But it has groups that has popped up, but it's not support. It's like they have avenues for sisters to socialize.
Yes,
But the thing is, in socializing, nobody comes and say, I'm going through a bad time. They're going to dress up pretty and take pictures. And, that is not what I was envisioning. So we have plenty of those where sisters could go out and stuff, but what happens when a sister is actually going through something and need help?
Support. So that was 4 years ago, you said, Latifah?
4 years ago, 2021. I remember very well because we were still on the backs of COVID. And because I'm a nurse, I was screening, I was under the tents, and, so I had a lot of stressful things happening, and then it will seem like, okay, this is it, we don't know what's going to happen, we were unsure about everything, and here I was, overstressed and overworked, tired, in every way, and going, would have went through a divorce prior, so dealing with loneliness, and I have my children, and it was so much. And I just made a decision one day. I didn't want any of it. I just wanted a break. Like, I just need a break from life. Right? So it's not like how people may think. So it was nothing suicidal. Right? It's just like you were just so tired and you just wish that things could have been different. And like, we have all these shows from long time, Groundhog Day. What if you get a chance to change? To go back in time or change.
One day,
So for me, it's like, what would happen if I was different? Would I still have the same results I'm having now? Right? So so it really was, because like I was thinking that everything bad was happening to me was happening because of who I am. And because I was born Muslim, everything was tied in to me being Muslim. So the people who would have chosen me for even friendships, for marriage, because I was Muslim. And I was saying, but I'm sure other people don't have it bad like this. Why it is I can't have, some good outcomes. I want to change my outcome. Funny thing is, so for those, as you say, if you know, you know. So I took a step back, which totally surprised everyone. At the point in time when people realized, wait, no, she's not wearing hijab again, was months later. So when I started to get the calls and the threats and the messages, it was 3 months later.
Wait. Latifah, hold on. All I be with me too, because when you called me the first time, you said it was 2021.
2021.
When I call you back, now
That would have been somewhere around September of that year.
Same year?
Yes.
Oh, because
So that process would have happened in June and
I call in September.
In September.
Because
I would have posted a picture, so it would have been the first time people realized, wait now, what's going on with her?
I never saw. Listen, oh my God, this phone call. You call me and say, and I did not think that I brought up that situation with Marcia.
Yes.
I didn't think that you was probably talking about yourself because again, I love how you paint that whole picture of you being this caring, empathetic person because that's how I know you.
Yes.
So I tell myself, okay, Latifah know what's going on outside here, so she wants to help these sisters, right? Not
I myself may have
understanding.
needed support.
It was
also.
internally, inwardly.
But I also would have wanted to her because I realized, looking around, sisters who would have converted or was alone, didn't have family, they were going through this journey by themselves. So I would always see where they might be struggling. Some people would be able to fall into groups, but what happens if you could not find a group to fall into?
To fit in.
Yes, you were out there alone. And, I wanted to just have a place where sisters like that, or even like myself, could just fit in. No status quo. You don't have to be married, not married. Don't have to have children. If you have children, that's okay. Because, we have groups and subgroups in communities. And when you don't fit in to a particular strata, you are left out.
You're ostracized, yeah.
Right, so that is what I was thinking about. So that journey was about 2 years. Right, at the end of the 2 years, because I actually gave myself a deadline. I need to find myself.
All right, but we're getting deep here, and I need to take a break.
Yes.
I never call for a break so much since I do this program. Yeah, this is a different kind of, I catch all of today, is a different kind of Islam chose me. So you will take a break, go and get your water to drink. You really need some water, go and get your water to drink, a big mug of water. Come back, right? And we'll continue this very interesting conversation with our dear and beloved sister, Latifah Razzaq, on Islam Chose Me, right on IBN Channel 8.
Never too early, never too late to recharge and hydrate. Get your daily dose the right way. Grab an oasis, now why wait? Never too early, never too late to recharge and hydrate. Get your daily dose the right way. Grab an oasis, now why wait? The greatest, the safest oasis for sure. Oasis, it's purer than pure.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back, viewers, to our discussion on Islam Chose Me with our beloved sister Latifah Razzaq on Channel 8 IBN, Islamic Broadcast Network. So, we were talking about that period, right? And I want to share my experience first, and then we could go back into I have an experience with you within that period. Because I said you had called me earlier. I didn't realize it was 4 years ago.
Yes.
Right? You had called me to say you wanted to start this group. And in my mind, I tell myself, well, knowing Latifah, she wanted to have this group for these sisters to support them. And I didn't mind supporting that. Because I too am married. I have a wife.
Right.
I would not mind
And
letting my wife know.
And such a lovely wife.
Yeah, hey, Latifah doing something, she could also join because, people just feel, all marriages be honky-donkey.
Yes.
And especially in our society with so many things happening, it has placed a strain on the couple, but it also places a strain on the individuals
Right.
who make that couple. Right? So, I can't remember what happened. We didn't communicate, and then I called her back sometime after. And when I called...
I called that, it seemed like it came too late. Because I'm like, what is Amtima calling me for?
No,
so I was upset.
Well, listen,
a lot of time had passed.
Yeah, but... And that's that thing with life, eh? Because people live their life too, eh? And sometimes you doesn't know what the other person on the other end going through. But I remember, hey, I remember Latifah with this.
Yes.
And all that time I didn't know anything, eh? I did not know anything. All I knew, hey, you was to get back to Latifah.
Right.
Concerning this group.
So a good few months had passed.
She wanted to do it.
Yes.
So when I called you now that morning, whoa, viewers, Latifah. Now, I understand how life is. I know it was not about me, but she was venting. And it was like, brrr, and I like on the phone. And I remember she saying some things, because I realize now that based on what she was saying, she had took off her hijab. Right? So one time I say, Mtima, do not condemn this woman because I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
I realized from your conversation that you took off your hijab.
Yes.
And I saying, I am not condemning this woman. Just listen. So I did listening. And then sometimes they would say some things and I say to myself, but what Allah had to do with that? And then I say, Mtima, hush and listen. So I'd listen again. And some things they would say, and I'm saying, in my mind, I want to quote some hadith. And I'm saying, no, it's not the time to quote no hadith. Listen. Hush your mouth and listen. And I just kept listening. And Latifah was, and you wouldn't know this.
I would have been through like 3 months of harassment, death threats, messages. People was calling on Messenger. Not a moment's peace.
But hello, you wouldn't, I telling you now on national television, IBN Channel 8. When you was talking, I was so scared because I said, what the hell? I didn't know.
But what people were surprised about, I was wearing hijab from secondary school. So I went to a Muslim primary school up to 1990. We had the coup. And then I went to a non-Muslim primary school, standard 4 and standard 5. And then I would have gone to secondary school. But I chose to wear. So I was the only sister in my year. Because that time I passed to Belmont Junior Sec. Because I had an injury just before accident. So I had, well, I wouldn't go into details. It was something very traumatic. I had a very bad accident, and that was 2 weeks before common entrance. And I went to school with my whole face purple. Back then, used to treat all injuries with junction violet. So they was calling me the purple monster.
Oh,
they said I was ugly, but my whole face.
Well, I can't like purple, boy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I embraced the purple because that purple, and then that was me, right? That was my color. And the thing is, my mother was telling me, don't go to school, people will teach you. And I'm like, I don't care. I was preparing for this exam.
Well, people doing nice.
But then, thank you very much. It is my color. But I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I think, even up to the morning, people were staring at me and they were calling me monster. And that's what I went into the common entrance room, right? So I didn't do as well. However, 3 months after, my grades, I got all A's at first term. And they're like, this girl doesn't belong here in this junior secondary school. So guess what? Let's try to get her a transfer.
The school?
So this was 1992, prior to the sisters from Holy Name when they went to court and they won.
I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was prior to that. That was a year before.
Okay.
So we went to Providence, which was the school that I accepted because it's like, oh wow, we love her grades. She will be perfect here. Didn't know I was wearing hijab. So I went with my dad. And we reached by the gate, and guess what? They wouldn't let us in. And they keep saying, hold on, but they never let us into the school. And my dad is like, well, I know I told you your grandmother went here and you would have loved to go here, but I don't think they want us here. So you go back to your old school, you will outperform everybody because you're a bright girl. He said something famous. I told my daughter later on, it is not the school is just a building. It is what parents would have invested in you and your education and your own abilities that doesn't make you successful. So my daughter also passed for regular secondary school. She was very upset about it, and boom, she mashed up everything, all in A-levels, and she's in university right now, pursuing medical sciences. But I didn't take her out of the school. I said, let me leave that money for tertiary, right? So my story was the same. So I did start with a junior sec school. I went to Digo Sec afterwards, Digo Martin Secondary.
Yeah, Central, what do you call Central
now? Yes, Digo Martin Central. So that time was 7 subjects. I got all 7 and I did 3 more. So I have 10 O-levels, I did A-levels, and I also have a degree in nursing. I could have gone further, but I did invest a lot of time in marriages and also getting out of marriages. Right, so that kind of thing, but it's a long history. People know me as the sister with the hijab. So when I took it off, that was part of my identity that was missing, because that is who I was.
No, I say I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't see anything on Facebook. It's only after I would have seen that's at a wedding or something. So
yes,
I didn't know. But as I said, that morning, and this is important. I want to really hammer this home. I said nothing. Look, she right here. I said nothing to the sister when she was venting, because she wasn't quarreling with me. She was just, I just happened to be on the other end of the line. And when she completed venting, I've never heard
you were the only one who called and nobody wasn't calling.
Okay, but I never knew a cell phone could have hung up, could have slammed. I hear the cell phone go, bradang!
I was so sorry. You know? I apologize for 4 years ago.
No, but listen, Latifah, I watch my phone, so I say, what? I confused. And I was very scared. And I said, I'll call your father. And I called him right after. I said, Doc, something bad happened just now. He said, what happened, Tima? I said, don't get vexed. I said, well, something happened just now. He said, what? And I explained to him what transpired and what I think. I said, well, I believe she take off the hijab. And he said, well, he not surprised because he was seeing some signs.
Yes.
And he tell himself, you know, like, that is what you're going through now. And look, Latifah here, you know, I never sent her to hell.
No.
I never tried to kill her. I haven't tried to kill her. Because, and I wanted to understand, because sitting down here, I'm not saying that I'll be happy if my wife take off hijab.
No.
You know? Because, but we don't know what you'll be going through.
You also need a lot of support and guidance.
People need support, you know?
So the journey back was even more difficult. So after the first year, so 2020 into 2022.
So you said 2 years you had a hijab?
I wanted.
I didn't know that.
I fasted for Ramadan, so I didn't have any hijab, but I wanted to fast, which was weird because I'm on a break, and then boom, I was putting up Eid decorations. So I climbed up a ladder, putting it up onto the ceiling, and boom, I fell. I didn't just fall. The ladder became unstable. I went backwards into a bookshelf, broke the shelf, and then fell with my head fling backwards on my head. My leg was hooked up in the ladder, steel ladder. So I was black and blue, the whole leg down.
Okay.
I got up. So I went to the doctor. They actually they checked, they saw the injuries on the leg, and they said, well, how I fell.
They might be thinking it's domestic violence. Right?
And the thing is, they didn't do an X-ray right away, right? So I'm there. A week or 2 pass. I am boiling some noodles, and I try to pick up the pot to strain the noodles, and my hand went like this. It just fell. So the pot fell, and I got some water fell on my feet and all of that. Went back to the same doctor. Suddenly, X-rays and everything, boom, spine and spasm. I had some injuries. I had a slip disc. that already started healing.
From the
fall. And they said, well,
Subhanallah.
I would have gradually gotten paralyzed eventually.
If that didn't happen.
So I was like, what? So they sent me to physio and everything, and I was doing the exercises. I was home for about 42 days. But for some reason, I started to get back feelings. I could have raised my hand. I could have exercised. I could have done a push-up. I'm like, okay, well, you know, only Allah could have made this possible. So that was one. So I had a victory. And then, boom, other things started happening. And I could see where, you know, they say shaitan trying to put you back.
Noisy,
so
you know.
I would have...
be noisy.
So I think I decided, here what, I'm going to put back on the hijab because, you know, I had this victory and, you know, I feel like I'm not alone. Allah is with me, you know, because they said I wouldn't have been able to lift anything or even walk eventually, but here I am walking.
And that is from the fall off the ladder, right?
Fall off the ladder, but it gets more interesting. So I put back on the hijab, and one of my supervisors, well, she retired now, she said, "You're not taking off the hijab again?" I was like, no. I was promptly moved from the place that I was functioning the best in the whole hospital. For 8 years, I work assessment department, and I have been, you know, I did one-to-one care with not just the patients, but also the relatives. We would counsel relatives, we would do admissions, and I functioned so well. I was promptly moved and placed on a ward that is a basement, so that I would not be seen. When I look outside, you're seeing the road above the ward. So they put me in a basement, like if that would be punishment. And I'm like, you know, I don't care, because guess what? I never took off my hijab for all year. I did it for myself, so that I can grow and become a better person, because I didn't like the person that I was. I didn't feel like I knew who I was. I was that person everybody else wants me to be. So I needed to find myself. So that is one. So I've been on that same ward for more than 2 years. When I reach to work, the patients just run to the gate. The nurse are coming and they're excited. The supervisors can't take that away from me. So I still bring all that joy and care to my patients. Sometimes every day I'm leaving work late because I'm staying back to do something for my patients. So no matter where they put me, I will work. So that was one. And then boom, about 3 months later, I was feeling unwell. So I went to the doctor, I did bloods, and they didn't know what was wrong. It's like, okay, well, you know, your lymphocytes are a little low and this a little high. And so they started to look. So we did a whole set of scans because you need to find out what is the cause.
Yeah.
Boom, precursor to a cancerous condition. And I was like, whoa, so now I'm going to die? You know? So I went from being jubilant, and I was like, oh no. So I'm like, ooh, this is what they always say in the Quran, that you will be tested. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm going to pass this test, because if Allah wants me to be the person I need to be, I need to go through this, I need to go through this with humility and patience. And guess what? So last week, I went to the St. James Medical Center, where they have the oncology unit, and my third scan has been clear. No precancerous or cancerous cells at present. So just like that, that's another victory. I have no regrets putting back my hijab. Yes, people will say, you know, when she put back on her hijab, so all these bad things were happening, and she had no husband, and she can't get a husband, and she can't keep her husband. It's like, you know, there's more to life than, you know, some people get lucky. Sometimes you just have to go through life and just be the best person you can be. So I wrote the poem, Identity,
well,
and that's where it came from.
I know when I asked you about that poem that we saw at the start of the show.
Yes. And you see at the end of it, I said, I am Muslim. Yeah. So nobody could take that away from me.
So that was your victory return poem, or
victory return, or as we fighters or warriors say, our war cry.
Your war cry. That was it. That your war cry poem.
That's my war cry. Yes. So I am Muslim, and I don't think I will ever have that feeling again to leave, because now I know who I am.
So, our Chimmy time, I wanted to share a poem again with us.
Right.
And before you leave, before the show ends, could there are a lot of brothers too, eh?
Yes, sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you're easy to identify because when you take off a hijab, you say, hey, she's not Muslim again. When I do so,
yeah,
nobody
really knows.
You understand?
No.
So, brothers and sisters going through a lot. And you mentioned something about feeling alone. They feel alone.
Yeah.
Or we feel alone.
At times.
I don't put myself in that. We feel alone. Right?
Even in a room full of people, you could feel alone.
So before we close off, I really wanted to talk to us outside there and, give us some nice partners. But
I have my very first poem
really
from when I was going to UE sixth form.
Yeah.
My very first poem in the mid-2000s. So it's almost over 20 years ago. So it's called The Other Side.
Right.
Conscience, good or bad? I'm trying to fight these feelings inside that makes me weak, takes control of me. No, this isn't me. It's just an aspect of my personality. Still, I fight to break free of the chains that have imprisoned me. Anger, hate, low self-esteem. I did this to myself. Nobody did this to me. Knowledge I learned was the key that will set me free. So every day I grow stronger, braver, wiser. Freedom was right around the corner. So now I stand up to fight my greatest enemy, the other side of myself. So that poem was saying I was fighting against myself 20 years prior.
Yeah,
I was a young woman and I was about 20 when I wrote. Right. So I grew up Muslim, yes, but I never identified. I felt like I didn't have a choice. But when I came back 2 years ago, I chose to even be Muslim. So I took over my whole shahada and everything. So I tell people, I've been practicing Muslim for the last 2 years.
Wow.
And they look at me like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? But before I was just here, I was just existing.
Yes, going through the rituals.
Going through, the rituals, I would go to the mosque, but I never felt that connection. And I think a lot of people go through that sometimes, never really feeling like a part of something, but now I know this is who I am and I chose this. It wasn't my parents, it wasn't the masjid, it was me.
Because I see a lot of sisters online, and I use the word scary because they don't know what people are going through.
Yes.
Right, and I really want to thank you for being brave enough
to share all of this.
To be, so Alhamdulillah, I think I want to take that away from you. Although what you said just now, that kind of like a nice closing piece, but if you still want to share something from your heart, or if there is enough, I don't know, up to you.
Well,
again, the last thing.
Could I do another short poem?
Yeah.
Right,
I like poetry. Go ahead.
So as a nursing student, I was in Mount Hope, and from the time you say you're a psych nurse, people kind of write you off, like, you're a joke or something.
Not a real nurse.
Not a real nurse. So I remember even I went home, I was tired, I felt demotivated. And I sat down, and what I do when I'm upset, I write.
Right, yeah.
Every time you see me writing a poem, something going on, right? So I wrote a poem called Over Our Heads. Right, so this is the piece, right? Some people ask, why psychiatric nursing? You're not a real nurse, you don't do anything. Sometimes I want to tell them, why don't hush them out? But instead, I retort by telling them a definition of a nurse. A nurse is someone trained to care for someone who is ill. It's not just about giving medication, but taking care of the patient needs in every dimension. Sure, a general nurse will have much more things to do, but try working with a patient who can't tell the difference between a hat and a shoe. Bandages are not for every condition. Try putting a bandage on someone suffering from depression. Mental illness is much more than meets the eye. The nurse must first unravel the mysteries of the mind. There's so much things affecting society. No wonder there's a thin line between mental illness and insanity. General nurses sometimes say, not me and them are people. You're in over your heads, you're looking for trouble. With increasing crime and poverty, mental illness can affect anybody. Stress, worries, and anxieties could become much more worse without intervention from a psychiatric nurse. So the next time someone asks me, why psychiatric nursing, I'll tell them, why not?
Subhanallah, alhamdulillah.
So that was back in 2008. I was a second-year nursing student.
Alhamdulillah.
So you see how far back. Still relevant as of today.
Yes, viewers, I think you'll agree that this indeed was an insightful conversation. Very moving and insightful. I want to thank you, Sister Latifah Razzaq, for being open and honest and willing to share your story with us today. May Allah continue to strengthen our faith and guide us all on the straight path. If you have been touched by what you have heard today, remember that guidance is a mercy from Allah. Seek knowledge, ask questions, and reflect on the beauty of Islam. If you want to share your story, contact me at 479-4510. And if you want to sponsor, after today you should want to sponsor Islam Choose Me. If you want to sponsor Islam Choose Me or any other program on IBN, call Brother Hasib Majid at 795-5900. 795-5900. Remember, next Saturday will be a rerun of this show at 6 p.m. inshallah. Join me again next Sunday at 9 a.m. for another episode of Islam Chose Me, because every path to Islam is a story worth sharing. Until then, I'm your host, Brother Ep3 Sorwazi, the activist educator. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Assalam